This DJ transition I made got over 130,000 views on Instagram. I'm going to unravel the secrets to the techniques and show you how you can do it step by step. What we're trying to do is create extra tension in a double drop. Like any double drop, the tracks have to sound good when they're layered on top of each other. Normally this means finding one that you can use as the main bass line, and the secondary one has more of a synth or a cappella or interesting sound that you can layer over the top. That means the tracks aren't sonically competing for the same space in people's ear holes. One other thing to look for in the tracks you pick is to find one that's got a really interesting sample or vocal just before it drops. This technique has 3 components. I'm going to show you each one on its own. You can practice those and then layer them on top of each other to create the final result. First of all, we're going to get all our cues set that we need for this technique to work. The first thing we need to do is find the drop of track 1, which I've lined up here already. I'm going to work with an 8-bar phrasing for this technique, which should work for most genres. Phrasing is really important in this technique because we want the tracks to drop at the same time. If you need a refresher, I've got a free ebook guide that you can grab in the description. The first thing we need to do is set a cue 16 bars before the drop of track 1. To do that, I'm just going to use beat jump. I'm going to jump back 64 beats, which is 16 bars. And let's set a hot cue here. Now we need to do the same on track 2. Find the drop. Go back into beat jump, jump back 16 bars again, and set a hot cue. This is basically everything we need for a standard double drop, which will sound like this. Our goal is to tease the crowd for an additional 16 bars when they think the first track is going to drop. At the same time, we start the build-up of track 2. The next thing we need to do is find the part of the track we want to loop as we build up the second tune. As I mentioned before, this is why it's good to find a track that's got an interesting sample or sound just before it drops. This track's got a cool little vocal sample, and that's what we're going to play with. Now, because there's a lot going on already, to make this easier, we're going to set this loop up in advance so that Rekordbox automatically triggers it as soon as it gets to this point in the track. To do that, just set a 1-beat loop, then add your hot cue. Then in Rekordbox, click on this tiny little loop arrow. Now that that's changed to red, it means Rekordbox will automatically trigger this as soon as it reaches that point in the track. Now the basic concept of this technique is we're going to slowly shorten that loop as track 2 builds up to the drop. Once it gets there, we're going to let them both drop at the same time. One way to do this could be just to half the loop until it gets really short like this. The problem is that sounds a bit robotic. The real power of this technique comes from using the jog wheel to chop this loop up in a continuous fashion. Most DJ controllers should let you do this in some fashion. To do this on the DDJ 1000, you hold Shift and press Out. This then lets you shorten the loop using the jog. So to recap, what we're going to do is we let track 1 play through the breakdown. As soon as it hits the hot cue loop that we've set, we're going to start bringing in track 2. As that's building, we're slowly going to shorten the loop using the jog wheel. Once track 2's about to drop, we let them go at the same time. I hereby give myself permission and you to use beat sync to practice this. Okay, let's see what we've got so far. Get ready to start track 2 once we reach our hot loop. Right, we now activate the jog wheel loop cutter. As track 2 builds, we slowly shorten the loop. Start getting a bit more aggressive. And get ready to exit the loop on the drop. Now you could stop there and it sounds pretty decent already. But the final step is to add some effects to add a little garnish. As soon as we hit our loop, you can start applying a high pass filter. A low cut echo also works really nicely. Right, let's put everything together and see how it sounds. Get ready to start track 2. Activate build mode. Start reducing the loop and applying the filter. And low cut echo as well. Ready to release. This one takes a bit of practice, but it can really add another level to your transitions. But there's so many other ways you can use your controller to add interest to your transitions. One of the places you can unlock the most creativity is those 8 little squares on the bottom of your DJ controller. If you want to learn how to use your performance pads for more than just setting hot cues, I've made a video where you can learn how to customize them to do, well, anything.